Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And if you found this video, you're probably wondering about moving to Pensacola, or you're probably already living in Pensacola and you want to know more about Pensacola. Well, you came to the right place. As the YouTuber real estate agent here on the Gulf Coast, I have made like 700 videos of Pensacola, the great things to do and the adventures to be had here in Pensacola. I mean, we've got everything from the Blue Angels to the military bases to an awesome downtown. You can catch a fish and shoot a deer all in the same day. So I'm going to talk about everything there is to know about the neighborhoods in Pensacola, the lifestyle you might want to live. I'm just going to spill the beans. I'm going to tell you everything I know inside a 15-minute video. And I'm going to try to do it as fast as possible, but there's some things you just got to go on and on about. I'm going to tell you about the good, the bad. I'm going to tell you how lifestyle can differ from neighborhood to neighborhood, and I'm going to rank the neighborhoods that I think that are worth living in. And not anything bad, or just my opinion as somebody that has helped a lot of people relocate here and has lived here my entire life. One thing about this video is I get asked these questions a lot, and I wanted to put it on camera to help somebody out. And maybe this allows you to make a choice for the lifestyle you want, because there's so many options. Whether you want to be the beach life, or you want to be the Blue Angels, or you want to see them all the time, or you want to live in a place where you can have some land and a horse. There's a lot of options here in Pensacola and the outlying surrounding areas. Let's get to it. I'm super pumped about this video. You can check out my other videos on this channel if you want to see top beer reviews, top restaurants in Pensacola, the Gulf Coast, and maybe something you didn't even know about. So let's go. My name's Jack. I'm a real estate agent here on the Gulf Coast, /YouTuber, /veteran, do a lot of things. I'm just a person that likes to record videos, make movies of our life, and talk about his town. And so I'm going to start from the top. You really have to ask yourself the question, what kind of lifestyle do I want to live here in Pensacola and the outlying surrounding areas? You know, we have the downtown area, which is awesome. You have gallery night, we have the McGuire's 5K runs, we have Christmas parades, we have all kinds of stuff that goes on downtown, runs. We have the Wahoo Stadium. It's great to go to a game and take the kids out there and just hang out on a summer afternoon. So there's a lot of diversity here in what there is to offer. You could live in some of the outlying communities like Beulah and Pace and all those areas and get another type of lifestyle, a more rural, more laid back, and still be close enough to hop into Pensacola and catch a Wahoo's game. So as I was recording this, it just came out on TripAdvisor that we made one of the top beaches in the United States. I mean, top 25, I think we made number 20. And then like last year, ranked one of the top cities, small town to live in, small cities, which, you know, I could agree with them. There's a lot to offer. There's a lot of interesting things. You know, when I came back from the military, I was really into fishing, and I was shocked to know the fishing opportunities here in Pensacola that are rivaled nowhere else. We have the big, beautiful bull reds that just get humongous here, and they migrate every year in the fall, which is super cool. The beaches, the history, like between Fort Pickens and Naval Air Station Pensacola, Fort Barrancas, Fort Morgan, Fort McRae, all these different forts here in the local area offer some really cool experiences for the kids. I mean, we go out to Fort Pickens, and I check those camping videos out that I did where we stayed out there with the pop-up camper with the kids. It was an amazing week. You got to really kind of get on the list to get out there because it just packs up so fast. But whether it's kayak fishing off Pensacola Beach or just going to listen to bands at the Pensacola Beach boardwalk, you know, it's just so much to do. But I'm gonna rank them now because I think I'm gonna go one kind of rural, one kind of beach idea to give you a back and forth. So I love the downtown area. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the different areas of it now. Downtown is basically a conglomerate of a few different neighborhoods, and each one of them offer a different thing. Downtown, you have East Hill, you have North Hill, and you have Aragon, and you have like the Sanders Beach downtown area, like as you go kind of south on the map. Aragon is a very high-end, beautiful historic district next to the historical district downtown. It's like within walking / pedaling distance of restaurants, the YMCA, a bunch of different bars and breweries, and it's a great place to where if you want to completely live the downtown life in the $600 to $1.5 million house that is right on the bayfront, overlooking the water, just over the bridge from Gulf Breeze, probably a 10-minute drive to Pensacola Beach. It rounds out a lot of what is super nice downtown living. East Hill is just north of downtown. It has the older historic feel also. The homes are, it's very like a historic feel. You have the old Sacred Heart Hospital also down there on 9th Avenue, which has got a lot of different restaurants in it now. They kind of revitalized it into this. I think Ozone's is in there. There's a couple other little places popping up in there. It's got a great little walking vibe. There's a couple private schools down there, and it's a great, safe little community. North Hill, I took a drive down there today just to get this B-roll. Sorry if it was a little cloudy, but I had to give y'all an idea of some of the awesome houses that are in North Hill. It's like this historic area of downtown Pensacola with the high-end older homes that just have that feel of awesomeness, and just they're totally different than you'll get anywhere else in Pensacola. You know, you'll get that 2-3 story that was built in, you know, the 1920s, 1930s. It's got that air of those old wood floors and those awesome staircases, but you're also within a golf carts ride of downtown Pensacola. A lot of people in East Hill have golf carts, and they do drive them downtown. You can actually get them street legal, and it's kind of become a thing. It's also like that in Navy Point now, which I'll get to later in this video. That's our hidden secret. Downtown, for me, is kind of where it's at. I like going to the Wahoos games. I like going to the restaurants downtown, and it's a little slower paced because you don't have to get on the interstate to go to a nice restaurant. You don't have to get on the interstate to go home. If you work in downtown Pensacola, staying downtown is kind of awesome. Like, I live in Navy Point. I don't bust 35 miles an hour. I think the speed limit's actually like 40, 45, but I don't really go that far, that fast most of the week because I live you know, close to downtown. There's no interstate. I really don't have to go anywhere else. I mean, the west side and downtown, you have a lot of options as far as shopping or restaurants or supermarkets between Publix, Walmarts, things like that. There's also a lot of parks for North Hill and East Hill inside of those communities. And the downtown area has its own area to go and hang out too. I mean, Wahoo Stadium is huge. You got the seawall there. People fish off of it. There's a little workout area, place for pull-ups, and a lot of yoga practice happens out there. It's just a cool place. So Pensacola is divided up between, you got Pensacola, then the outlying areas. And when I say outlying areas, you know, we like to include Pace and Milton into the Pensacola bracket, but it's actually in Santa Rosa County versus Escambia County. But it's within a close commute to Pensacola itself. I'm willing to bet a large amount of the people that live in Pace Milton work in Pensacola, or they're military, like Whiting Field. So that being said, if you're in Pace, the Milton area, you get a good bang for your buck as far as the house you want to live in. There's been a lot of houses built out there recently. It's probably the place you'll get over a quarter of an acre with a house. There's a lot of new building projects going up, a lot of new build communities that are popping up in the Woodbine area, things up north into Chumuckla. It's really spreading out. They have a really good school system. I'm going to try to link the school systems and the crime statistics in the description box of this video. And also, if you want to contact me about buying or selling a property here on the Gulf Coast of Alabama and Florida, my email is also down below. Pace and Milton, I lived in Milton for like 3 years. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We would go downtown Milton for restaurants. There was a few breweries down there, bands on Blackwater, which was awesome. I've vlogged all that on this channel. Check those videos out. Pace is, you know, along the Escambia River area, and you know, you do have to go over a couple bridges to get into Pensacola, and that could be a trade-off on whether you want to live over there or not if you have to commute. But if a little more rural, setback lifestyle is your thing, Pace and Milton are a good pick. The opposite side of that is Beulah, which is, I like to think of Pace, Milton, but on the other side of Pensacola. I lived in Beulah for most of my life, and when I lived out there, it was dirt roads and blinking lights, and now it has grown tremendously. My mom still lives out there. We still own land out there, but I think they just got a new elementary school, or I think they got a middle school, and they still have Beulah Elementary. Tate High School, I went there when I was younger. Another good school. The school system out there for those living in the Beulah community is great. You know, we had all kinds of festivals and everything out there growing up. But if you were looking for the same thing, like as in Pace, but maybe a different commute, if you work at Navy Federal or are wanting to stay on the 9 Mile side of town, Beulah is a good place. It's growing fast. There's been I think D.R. Horton's put up like 3 different build communities out there. Deer Run, I think they did Antietam, and I think they got one more going up. Oh, the one over on Bridlewood, I think they're building up. It was Blueberry Hill or something like that. I have to look it up, what the name of it is. But if you're interested, contact me down below. But it is growing fast. It's a great community. It's shocking to see how much it's changed. But I highly recommend that area if you were wanting more of a, you know, bigger yard, more of a new build, not wanting to renovate. Which this takes me into my next one. I'm going to go right here in the middle of this video and talk about the west side of Pensacola. This is the hidden gem diamond in the rough. I have always been a fan of the west side of Pensacola. Why? Because the bang for your buck. On the west side of Pensacola, for the last 3 years, you could buy a property close to the water, close to a boat ramp for, you know, a very reasonable price. I mean, $150,000 to $200,000 would get you something that was like pretty good shape. You could ride your bike to the water. And the thought of that was like, wow. And when I bought my house in Navy Point, and this is where I'm going with this, Navy Point has turned itself into a East Hill. You know, East Hill has always been the where people wanted to have that walking community close to the water, to downtown. Everybody wanted to live in historic East Hill. Well, now it's Navy Point. And Navy Point, in my opinion, I'm going to throw some B-roll up here. Navy Point, in my opinion, has way more to offer, and the price point is still tremendously better. Like, you have a boat ramp, okay, in the neighborhood. You have a county maintained park with 3 or 4 beaches. You have a place to work out, a place to watch the sunset. Like, I can walk from my house and watch one of the prettiest sunsets in Pensacola from a park bench every afternoon on the water. And, you know, I bought in this community back when $60,000 would get you a house. Now, you're going to be looking at between $250,000 and $400,000 to get into Navy Point. But I still think it's a great value because of what it offers. I can take my boat from my house, drop it in the water, and I can drive to Pensacola Beach and be sitting at Pensacola Bar and Grill, tourist destination, drinking a margarita in 35 minutes. That is my mind. And I can park the truck at the house. Like, where else on the Gulf Coast are you going to get that opportunity? Like, I can anchor the boat up in the cove all weekend and just leave it there until I want to jump into it. Like, it has gone through this transition where in the last 3 or 4 years, people have been renovating this entire neighborhood to where it is where everybody wants to be. I think right now there's one listing in Navy Point, and they're like heirlooms. Nobody wants to get rid of them. And now that a lot of them have been renovated, it's a great place for people to retire. It's a walking neighborhood. It's a golf cart neighborhood. It's a bicycling neighborhood. It is just like, if you can find the right house or a vacant lot that you want, you can build your dream home. That's it. This is it. Like, because it's the last spot where you're not waterlocked or landlocked from the water. You can just walk down to the beach. It's county covenanted. There's a county covenant where they can't, supposed to not ever build a house on the water. Like, it's supposed to be for the community. And that the price point is still mind-blowingly good. So yeah, check it out. Going from Navy Point, I want to talk about the beaches now. I want to talk about Pensacola Beach and Perdido Key. Let's start with Perdido Key. Perdido Key has changed a lot since when I was a kid. It has grown, and since the bridge went out years ago in Pensacola, to Pensacola Beach during, I don't know if y'all saw my vlog about that when the the barges hit the bridge. Well, Perdido Key boomed. Because it was, if you couldn't go to Pensacola Beach, you went to Perdido Key, and there was only one little bridge that, you know, you had to get over to get into Perdido Key. So everybody started going over there, and it started growing. And now it's become the place that people want to live. There's been a lot of properties built out there. You have a lot of condos that have gone up. Restaurants have gone in there. And you're really close to Floribama and Orange Beach, especially the wharf, if you want to go and watch your favorite band. You're really close to a lot of that, but yet you're still 20, 25 minutes or so from downtown Pensacola. I'd say really like 25, 30. You have the Itinerary Point area over there, which is the water community, is a very laid-back beach community. The fishing is great over there. There's just a lot to offer of being a beach community. I mean, you're probably still going to get in that area in a nice house between $500 and $1 million. And if you're going to be on the beach, you're going to pay $1 million. But to be able to be out there, like with that smell, the salt and the sand that is like crystal white, it's a beautiful place. I also highly recommend Pensacola Beach. If there was anywhere to live, to me, it would be Pensacola Beach. I mean, Via de Luna Drive on that strip all the way to Portofino, like those houses, you know, you're going to be about $2 million now for a nice house. Back in the old days, you could get in there for, you know, $300,000 for one of those little 2-1 concrete houses. But now, you know, there's been a lot of higher end houses go into Via de Luna Drive since the last hurricane, and it's really been rebuilt nice. The big thing about living out there, to me, is there's a lot of restaurants out there. There's a lot of things to do. You can take your surfboard out and go surfing anytime. You know, we actually have a pretty good longboard community. Not going to be out there surfing and ripping it up on a potato chip, but like longboards, you can do a lot out there. And I like to kayak surf, and I like to kayak fish, and I like to surf fish. And there is a lot to be offered out there. I mean, you can fish from Pensacola Beach all the way to Navarre. I mean, you just keep going out that road, and you know, there's so many national parks and state parks out there that allow you to have plenty of access. And same with Fort Pickens. I think that beach was like number 3 in the state of Florida last year as far as beauty, and it doesn't get much prettier than that. Like, you go to Fort Pickens, I would run that beach up with any place in the world almost. It is that pretty. And when that turquoise water hits you, whew, let me tell you. Also, the schools are great out there. There's some really good schools. And to run that over to Gulf Breeze proper, Gulf Breeze proper is kind of where most people want to live if they want that culture. If you live on Gulf Breeze proper, you got good schools. You are 2 minutes, 3 minutes from Pensacola Beach, and like, I know many of my friends that went to Gulf Breeze High School would go surfing before school. I mean, like, how cool is that? Hop in your Jeep, catch a wave, you're at school before, you know, 8 o'clock, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's that's the lifestyle I would have liked to grow up in. I mean, even all the way over to Midway, which, you know, the thing about Midway is it can be a little bit traffic in the afternoons. So just think about that when you go to think about that area. All the way over to Tiger Point, which is a little further out in Gulf Breeze, closer to Navarre. And you know, we like to think of that's Pensacola, but that's really Santa Rosa County, Gulf Breeze, you know, the city of Gulf Breeze. But we kind of think of them as the same because it's so close, and we all grew up with everybody just saying, oh, I live in Pensacola, but really they lived in Gulf Breeze. So just keep that in mind too. So the next one I want to talk about is the Cordova area. That's where the malls are. You've got the mall, you've got a lot of properties that are within a good distance of everything. I mean, you've got the mall, you've got a ton of restaurants and different places to shop and both grocery shop and, you know, retail shop. You're close to downtown. You're pretty close to the beach, and even along the scenic hills, scenic heights area, it's like there's a lot of options from everything from the $250,000 price range to the $1.5 million price range. There's a lot of really nice houses in there. Some were built like in the 80s and the 70s, and they're kind of going through that renovation process now, and sometimes you can find some good deals in there. I highly recommend that area if you work in central Pensacola, or you need to be able to get to 9 Mile Road area, or you work at Navy Federal, or you are, you know, even if you're military, but you still want to have the Pensacola centralization. Like, you're not too far from NAS. You're still close enough to hop over to Milton, to Whiting Field, or kind of anywhere in between there. It's definitely a good idea to check it out. Okay, last but not least, I want to talk about the bonus round. Okay, we're talking about the bonus round, and I'm going to talk about first Lillian, Alabama. And everybody like, well, that's not Pensacola. Well, it is so close to Pensacola. It's like 20 minutes. It's just over the border, because we kind of here in Pensacola are close to the border of Alabama. Same way with Beulah. If you're in Beulah, the Alabama line's like right there, and a lot of people live in Seminole, but they work in Pensacola. So I wanted to throw in Lillian because it's a good bang for your buck, and there's a lot of water properties out there. My sister actually lives out that way, and she's got a great place on the edge of the creek, flowing into the Bayou Canal there, and it's beautiful, and she got it at a good price, and it's still bang for your buck, a really good option to look at. I'll throw some of those up right here as I'm talking, and just give you an idea that, you know, you're just over the bridge, and then you 20-minute commute here to Pensacola, and you can find some good properties at a good price. Alabama has a different income tax setup. I think they have like a 5% income tax. You'll have to check on your own about that one, whereas Florida doesn't. So, you know, kind of your lifestyle, your income will depend on which one you would kind of really pick. Same way with like Pensacola, Orange Beach. You know, do you want to be in Alabama or do you want to be in Florida? Pensacola Beach, it's not as big, not as bustly. Price point's not like it is in Orange Beach. Orange Beach is a lot. I mean, like, as far as amount of people that come there, the price point that's there, the size of the property you're going to get, there is a lot more traffic in Orange Beach, and the price point is a lot different. So if I were to weigh Orange Beach, Pensacola Beach, and Perdido Key, I'd say Orange Beach is going to be, you know, a higher price point. It's going to be really busy. And then I would have Pensacola Beach would be like its little brother. It's going to have a lot of traffic during the summer, and it's going to be very seasonal. In the winter, you're not going to see hardly anybody. Like, it'll be a desert out there. And then Perdido Key is kind of still finding itself, but it's in between there of the two, you know, on the map. And I think it will grow a lot in the next 2 to 5 years. But the last one I want to talk about, this video is getting really long, but you know what, I want to talk about these things, is Navarre. Navarre is absolutely beautiful. Some of the most beautiful water on the Gulf Coast before you get to Destin. It's probably it's close to Destin beautiful. And that part is growing. And yeah, it's not Pensacola, but it's an outlier. Like we think of, like if you live in Gulf Breeze, Navarre is kind of lumped together. Check it out. I'm gonna do a video on, I think, Navarre, Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and just kind of like so you can get an idea of it. I kind of need to split these videos up, but I'm doing my best here. Check those out. It's just the bang for your buck for what you could get on the water for. I mean, 3-4 years ago, you could get on Navarre for like $250 close to the water. I think now to get on the island, like on the strip of sand there overlooking the water, you're going to be at like $800,000 to $1 million. They've gone up a lot in the last couple of years, but you are on one of the most beautiful spots of land in the water is, when you go out there on a kayak and you see a fish go by, it's like floating on a cloud. You just see the mahi-mahi going by. You see the tuna going by. It's nuts. Like, it is so beautiful. And I wish I would have bought out there when I got out of the Army, but I just didn't know better. So check that place out too. That's really all I got for this video. I wanted to throw this together because I get asked these questions a lot, and I wanted to help people out. If you're looking to move this area, I have a lot of experience in this area because I have been out to adventure it with YouTube and record, doing all these things, and as a real estate agent, helping people come from Canada and from overseas and from up north, and even here in Pensacola from place to place. And I hope this helps. Don't forget to email me if you've got any questions or want to buy or sell something, and comment down below with your favorite place on the Gulf Coast, and I'll see you guys on the next video.